Fundamentally, it's to achieve these 8 Gatsby Benchmarks, which are the foundation for good careers practice for education.
The Gatsby Educational Foundation was tasked to come up with a set of benchmarks, which they did, and there were 8 of them, and they say that if a school is reaching each of these 8 benchmarks, then they've got a really good career strategy.
Loads of research went into looking at those benchmarks and what is good and what is kind of that ideal career structure, so to speak.
It really allows the work that we're doing with the schools to be specific, to be measurable, and to see how things change within the terms, whether progress is made or we step back one step. But that's okay. Having those benchmarks there allows us to work towards something that is achievable, is sustainable.
They're really good. Each marker has an independent element to it, but they all then coalesce into the greater whole. And it's a really good how to do careers education. Each Gatsby has its own uniqueness about its focus, but it leads a school to be able to look at how it does things and think, okay, that fits into that compartment really well, that fits into that compartment really well. When we bring all of those pieces together, actually, we got a cracking careers education programme. And actually, we didn't need to think as hard as we thought about it. We were doing it. It's just interpreting what we've already been doing.
Gatsby Benchmark 1 is about creating a stable careers programme. So that's the strategic benchmark. It's about, have they got a plan in place? Does everyone know what that plan is? Is it written down? Is it on the website? Have you got the governor's approval? It's a very strategic benchmark, making sure we've got kind of that ground level stuff in place in order for the other benchmarks to kind of roll on from it.
Benchmark 2 is all about labour market information, so it's finding out about what does the labour market actually look like? What do people do every day in Britain and internationally? What metrics do we use there? You know, where do the statistics come from? So benchmark 2 is all about how you can learn from the labour market and inform people to say, do you know what, X amount of people do this in X amount of parts of the country. You know, is it something that I'd like to do, and do I want to move to that part of the country to go and do it?
Number 3, addressing the needs of each pupil. It's kind of, as it says on the tin, within a school or college you have a wealth of students, whoever that might be, wherever they've come from, what their skills are, and 3 is very much about addressing all of them as individuals and providing opportunities and engagement for all of them as well.
Oh, benchmark 4 is my favourite benchmark. I was in a meeting with a careers leader last week and I said, benchmark 4 is my favourite, and she said, never say that, it's not cool. it's not cool. But benchmark 4 for me is a really important benchmark. It's really crucial. It's careers in the curriculum. It's making sure that where lessons are being taught, where learning is being inputted to the young people, that actually careers is weaved throughout that. I think it's a really key benchmark, particularly with what's happening with COVID-19. Schools don't have the time and it's not a priority for them. So actually, how can we be creative? How can we think about a maths lesson differently? Is there anyone in business that can potentially support that maths lesson? Is there an activity that we can potentially plug in? So where they're in a lesson, whether that be maths, geography, English, science, it's really making sure that the young people link that with a specific career or skills that would support a career within that sector. I think being able to be really creative through that benchmark is really important. It's going to be really key throughout this academic year, and it's really going to support not only benchmark 4 but the other benchmarks as well. I think that's how we're going to make sure that careers remains front and centre for these young people. So benchmark 4 I think is so crucial.
5 is employer encounters. This could be anything from a Q&A session to an interview like we're doing today. It could be workshops and anything where a student is engaging with an employer to discuss industry, employment, business, could be CV, workshop, etc. So anything where there's that two-way interaction between student and employer. Most of the time it happens within the school. So, a lot of the work that the schools do will be, employers will come in and provide workshops or activity sessions for the students, take them through their work or what they do.
When we look at Gatsby 6, we're looking at about how young people encounter business. but in a very specific way, and that is through work experience. And in the times that we're in at the moment, that's thinking about not the physical experience of going into work experience, but having to be virtual experiences, so that actually you still have an authentic encounter with the business, but you're not actually physically in the business.
7 is encounters with further and higher education, so helping students with their next steps after school, what that looks like, apprenticeships, college, sixth form, whatever it might be. There's so many different opportunities and providers out there, and it's up to the schools to kind of put things in place to support the students with making those decisions.
Benchmark 8 is personal guidance, so it's really giving that young person the opportunity, the time, the space, the breathing time to really explore all of their options, speaking to someone that is unbiased, non-judgmental, doesn't really know them, and can give an outside perspective looking in, providing them with information, support to go away and research. Actually, is there a business that that individual might know, and can put that young person in contact with that business to ask some key questions, and giving the young person an opportunity to reflect on those encounters and reflect on their careers journey throughout their academic history, if you like. So I think that's really important for the young person to have that time to reflect.
So yeah, Gatsby Benchmarks.